All hail Biafra. This is Biafra Liberation Army Network coming to you again. Please like, share, and comment.
Fellow Biafrans, I want to say our people are waking up. Our brothers and sisters, they are waking up. They are becoming conscious of what's really happening in Biafra land and the bites of Biafra. Sometimes when we say these things that people are scared to identify being Biafrans, we understand why they do that, because sometimes the shock of what they went through during the Biafran war made some of them, their parents told them, never you identify yourself as a Biafran. Never you call yourself an Igbo, because they assume that way it will solve the problem. It will make them to be safe. But today I am glad our brother here, I believe his name is Bovi. He's a comedian. But today he's taking his time. He's taking his time to do some studies, some research. So please, I want you to listen to this story. This narrative by our brother here, Bovi. I understand, those who are in that country called Nigeria, that zoo, they might not be free enough to speak out. But he spoke with codes. What he said he had coded. Please listen to what he said about what happened in the Asaba massacre. Because sometimes when we say these things, some of you might not understand why we speak the way we speak. When we say we know Nigeria very well, some of you might be saying, oh no, the Igbos are the problem, the Biafrans are the problem. Give peace a chance. Simon Ekpa is the aggressor, Nnamdi Kanu is the problem. But please, I want you to be unbiased on this one. Listen to this guy. At least in this case, he's a neutral person. He's neutral here. He's not coming out shouting that he believes in Biafra or he's agitating for Biafra. He's not. He's a comedian in Nigeria. But hear what he said in this story. And hopefully it will awaken something in you. If you're ready, let's go there. Listen.
I won't give you a gist. In 1967, the Nigerian Civil War was barely 3 months old. Right? Nigerian soldiers advanced into Asaba, and the people of Asaba came out en masse to welcome them. They all wore white, carried green leaves, shouting, "One Nigeria, one Nigeria." But you see, days prior, the Biafran army led by Joseph Achuzia had blown up the Onitsha bridge, which meant the Nigerian soldiers don't go fit easily advance into Onitsha. This pissed off the soldiers in Asaba, and without authorization from the federal government in Lagos, they separated the men and the boys from the women. These people who are dressed up in white to receive them and welcome them, shouting "One Nigeria," and they slaughtered all of them. One of the people killed in that exercise was the late Sidney Asiodo, who had represented Nigeria in the 1964 Tokyo Olympics. Alas, Sidney could not run for his life. He died there. This battalion of soldiers were led by Colonel Moritala Mohammed. On October 8th of 1967, the few men who had not gone for that parade were rounded up. They dug mass graves and put all these bodies that had been executed the previous day, about 700 of them, and they made these young men to start to cover the graves with sand. One of the men in his account says as he was covering, he saw his brother, and the brother said, "Are you going to bury me alive?" and begged, because the brother was still conscious. But the soldiers were standing by, barrels cocked, and said, "Listen, go ahead or you die." With tears in his eyes, he proceeded and buried his brother alive with the other dead bodies there. This is a sad history in Nigeria, but don't take my word for it. These are not my stories. You can go and check University of South Florida Digital Library. the Asaba Memorial Project. Type it, or you travel, go there, you see for yourself, or you can read Blood on the Niger by Ima Okocha. Everything I said is there. It's 58 years ago this happened. Today, I just say, we can share some history with you now. Peace.
Hold on there, my brother. You've spoken well. You've spoken well. Hold it there. The main thing is sometimes, when you hear things like this, people might not understand the gravity of what happened during that time. The Biafra war was just 3 months old. Now you see why Ojukwu wanted to go and what? Take care of Lagos, because then the government was in Lagos. Then it wasn't about the Yoruba having Lagos. When you're at war, you make sure you hoist your flag at the heartbeat of the enemy camp. By then, Lagos was the capital. The federal government was in Lagos, so it only makes sense. If you're at war, you must get down to that place where the heartbeats of your enemies are, or the aggressors are. But today they've turned the story around and say, oh, Ojukwu was going to the Yoruba land. But you've just heard the account. Muritala Mohammed was the one that led soldiers to commit a genocide. My father gave me an account of what happened in the Asaba massacre. He said some people were half dead. Some of them were grazed with bullets. Some of them bled throughout the whole night. Not all of them died, but when they dug that massive grave, or more like a shallow grave, they asked the living to push everyone into those shallow graves. The military were there watching, and they told them to bury them. People with bullet wounds stuck in their head, in their chest, in their torso, in their stomachs, most of them, they were still alive. All what they needed was just, the ambulance, stop the bleeding, find a way to take out the bullets, stitch them up, and they should be alive. But their intention was to put fear on the people of Asaba. Their intention was to deal with the eastern region because they saw a war. Mind you, by then, they came up with the assumption that the coup that happened was an Igbo coup. So the hatred for the Igbo was already there. And when they came, they saw everybody there as what? The Igbos. Those who came out with their flag, waving their flag, with the assumption that yes, if we can dress in white, it symbolizes peace. As white as a dove. And raise the flag. The higher you raise the flag, the green, white, green flag, it shows that we are for them. From a mile away, they were raising their flag, screaming, shouting for joy. One Nigeria, God bless Nigeria. They were singing the national anthem the same way. You saw what happened in Ensas, in Lekki, where the youths were singing the national anthem, hoisting their flags, with the assumption that once the military see them with doing that, then they will know they are for them. And that way, technically, they will be fine. In fact, they assume that the military will come and support them. But you saw what happened in Ensas. And they claim till this day that nobody died. But in 1967, the Asaba massacre, it was something that was unheard of. Britain knew what happened, but they said these guys, they've gone agog, they've gone AWire. How can this man, under his command, do such? So this goes out to all those out there who see the fight we are fighting today. You see the Biafrans fighting a good fight to say never again should things like this happen, because when the people are not of you, are not like you, when they act, they show no empathy. People little half dead were buried alive. People unconscious were buried alive. You heard about the story here where a brother had to bury his own brother. It tells you that if he had not done it, they would have shot him from the back and put him in there. What we went through was a genocide. They did all what they did to cover the act. And today I'm glad that our people are waking up. You see what's happening to Nnamdi Kanu? Some of you say, no, it's just the Igbos. You say the Igbos. It will only happen to the Igbos that we have a partnership with the North. The one they call FFK, Femi Fani-Kayode, they said they have a mutual partnership with the North. That the Yorubas have a partnership with the North. But today I will show you what is happening in Kwara State. Because sometimes you assume that what you are doing is politics. You think sometimes the best way to deal with a case is to align with the aggressor. To the Yorubas, you know what is happening in Kwara State all this while, but you still want to kind of keep it mute. Just like what happened in Asaba. Today the caliphate has come to your own land. Because for a while you were condoning this nonsense. For a while you were pretending not to know what is going on. You were acting naive, acting nonchalant. When the military came to our land to kill us, now today we know that the military men within them are Boko Haram, ISIS, ISWAP. Those who they said they have repented. They are the ones embedded in the military. Now we know what these things. Lord have mercy. But back then you would say, yes, let the military go and do their job. Kill them. Kill the Igbos. You change our name from Biafra to Biafra. You assume that way that the caliphate will leave you alone to keep on enjoying the crumbs from the table of the caliphate in Lagos and Nigeria. And that way, the Yoruba land will be peaceful while the other tribes will be having blood, sorrow, tears in their land. Today, I want to show you what's happening in Kwara State. If you are ready, let's go there. Let me show you. It happened again today. Every day it's happening. But your media are not calling them out. Let's go to Kwara State. Breaking news. This one is coming all the way from Sahara Reporters X page. It says, bandits kill one, abduct stepbrother in fresh attack on Kwara community. Bandits kill one, abduct stepbrother in a fresh attack in Kwara community. You see, this thing will not end, my people. To the Yorubas, they have come. They have come. It will not end. You know, no matter how you try to pretend as if everything is fine, they want Kwara and they want it all. They want Kwara and they want it all. This is why sometimes we'll tell you, when you see evil happening to a particular people, always come out and speak on it. Always come out and speak on it. Stand up and says, not in your name will they do what they are doing. Not in your name. But sometimes you guys, you refuse. You are saying, oh, it's just the Igbos now. None of the Igbos now. They are killing them.